Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house with a friend of mine who actually heard a podcast that I had with someone that she knew, and she reached out to me, and we had a connection call, talked, and man, I'm just like inspired by her story, and I'm also, wanting to be a part of this story because this is just a phenomenal one. Wait till you hear this, guys. And before we get into it, introducing Erika, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for showing up every week. No. I'm thanking you too, Erika, but I'm thanking the audience right now. But no, thank you for showing up, audience, for support of the What Are You Made Of movement. Thank you for reading the book Rocket Fuel, and if you haven't, go get a copy. And also, the tech product that we just launched, our new platform called Blueprinted. It's BLOO printed. Go to that website, blueprinted.com and /VIP. Check it out. We're looking for our first 100 architects to get into the app as soon as possible to start building their blueprints so that they can impact the world and inspire the world, because success leaves tasks. Clues too, but tasks. So anyway, today we have Erika Sandor-Zur. She's a professional tennis player, after a long-awaited professional tennis player, I should say. And wait till you hear her story. It's just phenomenal. I heard some of it when I was talking to her the other day. Erika, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. It's an honor to be on your show.
Well, thank you. And you know what? You actually manifested this because you saw this on, I guess, Instagram or something else with someone else that was on my show, right? That's a friend of yours.
Yeah, Michael Diamond.
Michael Diamond, my man, Michael Diamond. And then you decided, hey, I'm reaching out and I want to be on that show. And you just took action and did it and got it done. And look how fast it is. So I commend you for that. But we always start the show, Erika, with the question that's written on the wall here. What are you made of?
What am I made of? I'm made of hope. I'm made of hope, and I'm made of love.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah. No, I just I have this will, if there's a will, there's a way, no matter what. And no matter how many no's you get, you're closer to a yes. And I just believe that no matter what happens, no matter how far down we've gone, no matter anything, it's never too late. I know it sounds like a cliche, but I feel like the whole world's our oyster, and the only person that's holding us back is ourselves. Fear of failing, so I'm made of hope and lots of.
Yeah. So I agree. There's a lot of cliches out there, but they're actually cliches for a reason. But the problem is most people have a lullaby effect to them because they hear them so much and they don't do anything about them. And so it goes in one ear and out the other. The people that take them and do something about them, they're not cliches anymore. They become real. Right. So take us back to your story. I mean, everybody's got a story. I want to hear your story.
So funny because I literally just got off the tennis court 15 minutes ago, and I'm there's a come down period from just the intensity and the kind of training that at least I do. So I'm sitting here and I'm like,
no, but don't come down from it. Stay in it, because this show's supposed to be fire. So
it's so fun. Yeah, I just thought it was so cool. I was thinking when I was finishing my last couple of hits, where I was and where I am today, and then coming on your podcast, and I'm like, wow, it's really cool because it is what you put out to the world, and what you put out is what you get back. So
100%.
Yeah. So, I wanted to say thank you, first of all, for having me on your show and sharing this with your listeners. Because I think that's an honor. And genuinely,
you're welcome. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And I want to be able to give back. I want to be able to share genuinely my experience and my story, because I am that walking testimonial. I truly, if I could do it, another cliche, really, if I can do it, anybody can. So, for me, I had a wonderful childhood. This disease does not discriminate at all. I had said it once to you before, my mother has a sip of non-alcoholic white Zinfandel, and she's like, oh, I think I feel it. I'm like, Mommy, there's no alcohol. No, there has to be. And I don't know where I came from. My dad is like this strong European. You don't get bitter, you get better. You add honey, you love. You don't burn bridges. Everything's a story. I met this man 50 years ago on a bus, and I gave him a penny, and then I just saw him a week ago, and now I'm working for him. Just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And then I
Well,
don't think
but
that's
so,
probably what it sounds like, but
but you said disease, and we didn't really introduce you. Like, so what
oh
disease
yeah.
are you talking about?
So I'm in recovery also from drugs and alcohol, from everything. Any ism a person can have, I've had, whether it's shopping, gambling, sex, men, women. But crack was my drug of choice. And I went to a co-ed private school and I played tennis. I was number one actually in Northeastern Ohio from age, I believe it was either 10 or 12 and under to 18. And that's all I did. I went to school and I played tennis. I was very innocent, and very family oriented. And all we did was, play tennis. Both our whole family, my sister and I, we played tennis. And it was my senior year of high school. I was working at a coffee house and, there was a busser that was there and he's like, yeah, I'm having a birthday party. Come across the street. This little old man. And, I'm like, sure. So I, go across the street and there was like 3 people there. And I had heard of like heroin and cocaine and marijuana and ecstasy and but I never heard of crack. And there were these white rocks everywhere on the table. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, you want to try it? I'm like, sure, why not? So they put a $30 hit of crack on a pipe. And the second I hit it, I was hooked. So, 19 rehabs later, homeless on many, many streets in the United States of America. My attorney had once asked me, have you ever been arrested? I'm like, which state? So, everybody knows where this disease, if you've ever been in this disease, or even if you're a family member of somebody or a friend who has somebody suffering from drug or alcoholism or any addiction, they understand how profound and deep this disease really can take a person, so because I don't think that any human being or a mother in their right mind would choose, a $5 hit of crack over their child unless there was something serious about this addiction and that drug.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And so how old were you then?
I was 17 or 18 years old.
And were you drinking at all then at that age or doing anything else?
No, crack was the first thing I ever put into my body.
And then from there, what happened? Like you're saying you're hooked, but like what happened from there? Like
so probably about it was about 2 weeks later, I was already out on the streets. Back then, there was a Kinko's copy, you didn't have computers at the house yet or printers or anything. And so, and my parents were so innocent. So I'd say like I had to do like schoolwork, at Kinko's copy because it was open 24 hours at the time. And so like I had the excuse that I was gone for over the night, because why would they know? And I remember 2 weeks into the disease, I had a 97 Mitsubishi Eclipse and I sold that for $20. My car.
Hold up. So I had an Eagle Talon and I'm trying to think. Oh, mine was a 1995 Eagle Talon, which is the same car. And what year was yours?
It was a 97 Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Oh, so 2 years later. So yeah, because mine was a blue color. Yeah. Similar to that blue, maybe a little darker, and it had a black top on it. It was just awesome. I love that car. But anyway, awesome. Not to throw you off your story.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But you sold it for $20.
Yeah, $20. And then I had a $700 Nikon camera. I sold that for $30. I sold the camera for more than the car. And I laugh as I'm saying this now. This isn't funny at all, but I worked through this and in hindsight, looking back, there's just the very beginning, so there's a story that I share just so that, because I don't like at this point sharing this huge, long drunk-a-log. So no,
I wouldn't want you to do that anyway.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things though, that I will say that, was in the very beginning of my addiction. And, you would have thought that would have been enough for me to stop. And that was just the very beginning. And it's a story. So I was on the streets of East Cleveland, and I had a full ride to Indiana University to play tennis, and I lost that because I chose crack, or it chose me. And so they called it Big Mama's house. And it's where all the drug dealers and everybody went at the end of the night to count their money and, have sex with everybody, and men with men, women with women. And it really was kind of like, what you see in the movies. And I had it been like the third day, and Big Mama was she wasn't a big lady. She was like this really old lady with no teeth. And, and she thought that I had stolen from her. And I wasn't that part in my addiction yet where I knew about stealing or anything. I just knew that I needed to get high. And so she went to her back room, and she was going to get a gun to shoot me. And there were these 4 guys, and they picked me up and they took me, and, they're like, we'll take care of you. And so they got me in their car, and they took me, down the street, and I'll never. So they take me into their house, and there's this narrow stairwell that I go up, and I walk past this couch, and we go into this back room, and to the left, there was a closet with one of those, just one hanger going back and forth. And then in the back room, or the back of the room, there was a window with this screen kind of ripped. And then to the right, there was this mattress on the ground with a plastic on it, just ripped. And they threw me on the bed. Each one of them took their turn, and they raped me from behind. And then when they were done, they threw a $5 hit of crack at me. And don't you know, I picked that piece of crack up real fast, and I smoked it. And, when they were done with me, it was the middle of the winter, and, I was bleeding, and I didn't have shoes, and I'm walking in the snow, not having a clue what's going on. I was so young, and I was so innocent, and that was just the very beginning for me. I was really hooked, and there's many facets to, learning how to all the different ways of doing the street life, and that was just, like I said, the very beginning. So,
and you laugh because I know why you laugh, because I think back about when I was younger and doing some of the stupid shit that I did. And I just think, like, what the hell was I thinking? But you weren't thinking, because this thing grabs your mind, and it grabs your control factors and facilities. And man, like, nobody expects to be hooked,
No.
like, you didn't even know really what the hell you were doing.
No, not at all.
And yeah, that's yes, but that's why you're laughing. I mean, I know, I get it, because you're like, how stupid could I have been? But you're judging yourself based on, so
I ended up going to Ohio State. I walked on at Ohio State. I played tennis for them. And, I was.
So hold on. I got to stop you. So where we are in the story, you were still doing this. How often would you be doing drugs?
Oh, I was every second of every single day. I was in it like that. Like,
okay. So then how did you finish high school, and how did you end up going to Ohio State and still go to practice and all that stuff?
Yeah. So, I when I graduated high school, I was at my first rehab, and they gave me a pass to go graduate, and then I had to go back into rehab. And then when I got out of rehab, I didn't have any understanding. I just, they told me that I wasn't allowed to do it. And I mean, at that time, I didn't know that I was white knuckling it. I didn't have a clue. So, and my family's like, you're going to college. Like, this isn't, you're going to college. And so, I met a boy who I, fell in love with, and he was at Ohio State. So that's why I chose Ohio State. And, I went there to Ohio State, but, I did drugs throughout all of college. I didn't smoke crack. So I thought it was okay, because I didn't know the difference. And I didn't graduate from Ohio State. It's very interesting, because it's not just the disease. It's not just crack that, was the problem. I was such a, prima donna. and the whole world revolved around me. And I was always into the next moment. I don't have memories of things because I was so busy worrying about what I had to say, or I had, this in my hand and I needed that was over there. There was no appreciation for anything whatsoever. So college is a fog for me completely. And, by my senior year, I was actually at Ohio State for 5 years. So by my senior year, it was at the very end, right before I was going to graduate, where I had found cocaine. And I had never done cocaine until my senior year of college. And cocaine was that's what brought me back to crack. And there's many facets to this. Like I would put together 2.5 years, 3.5 years, 4.5 years, 1 year, in different periods, because I'm 42 years old now. But I never call that healthy mental health sobriety, because just because I had put the drug down, I still used people or used myself or, used you as my God, or had a man as my God or a woman as my God, anybody, you know what I mean? And anything to not feel, whether it was shopping, gambling, sex, anything. So whenever I put together those years, sure, I put together a facade, but it was never, it was never healthy. And that's why I always went back, because I never filled the void the
So
right way.
what was the turning point?
So fast forward to the last drug use for me really took me down. They all took me down, but this time now I had children, and I had lost custody of both of my kids. I have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old now.
But how old? I missed the first one. 17?
7 and 10.
Oh, 7 and 10. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, and I've had full custody of them now for about 3.5 years. So, but when I lost custody of them, I was past a point of no return. I didn't want to live, but I didn't want to die. I didn't want to get high anymore, and I couldn't stop. And what do you do? And I remember, it was I was trying, at different points to try to get healthy, and I met my now husband, and I met him at a yoga studio, and I thought that I could hustle him. I went there actually to try to find somebody so I can get money, so I can go get high, and he was my target. And so I asked if he wanted to go out later on that night, and he said, okay. And, I had never met anybody that talked more than me, and it was him. And when we were sitting and we were talking, I was such a street person that I was listening to this gentle man who had substance. And I had remembered that from my childhood, conversations and substance. And I remember a couple of weeks later, I was at a crack house, and I had called him and I said, listen, I'm like, you don't know me, we're not dating. And if you never speak to me again, that's okay. But if you don't come and get me, I'm going to die here. And he came and he picked me up. We called it Jordan Rehab. But the first year, that we were together, he's a sound engineer, and a production manager for rock stars. That's why he was able to take me on. And he was touring for that first year. So we weren't really together at all. I had to figure this out. But I had a safer place to go because my house, I had the streets living in my house. So
now, did he know like the first time you met him, or the first, like anything like that? No,
not at all.
Gotcha.
And so there came a point where I would watch him in his house, and he would like prepare the coffee at night to get it ready for the morning, or he would make his bed. He had a bed.
Yeah.
Or he had shampoo in his shower, and it was a Veda, and I was like, oh my God, and he would do his laundry, and he even had like this lemon holder that you put lemons in the fridge to keep the lemons. And I'm like, so I would watch him, and I remember thinking to myself, with or without him, I want that. Even when he was like in Australia touring, I would watch him take his vitamins the same time that he would take it here at home. And it blew my mind. I didn't have any understanding. I hadn't slept in years, You know what I mean? And I hadn't eaten, you know, and watching this healthy person with boundaries and, you know, what is that, you know, and consistency and stability. And I remember wanting that so badly and just not being able to do it. And then one day, I was in a crack house, and again, I had been out for what felt like a year, you know, and you know, I had always promised this is going to be the last one, or I would throw the crack pipes, you know, and then I go like in the backyard and try to find them, or the streets or whatever afterwards, taking it back. And this time, I was so broken. I mean, I was so broken. And I remember taking my last hit, and I was sitting down on this bench. There was a table next to me, and I was sitting like on like a kind of bench next to the table, and I took the hit, and this girl was in front of me. We'd been partying or whatever, using for a couple of days together, and we were in it, and her eyes changed. I'm a very spiritual person. I talk about spirituality a lot because for me, I'm very connected. God is my higher power. I'm not religious. I'm very spiritual. And so this girl looks at me and her eyes just changed. And I took that hit and I was pushed off the chair. And I looked to my left and there was nobody there. And she looks at me and she goes, "Didn't you feel that?" She goes, "You know, that's spirit telling you this is your last chance, you know, to get out." And she looked at the door. And I remember thinking to myself how scared I was, you know, because I knew I had prayed before and before and before that, you know, and I remember asking for the willingness to just want the will to even be sober, just to have any willingness whatsoever. And I remember thinking to myself, well, if you're really there, God, you know, if there is a God and you're this almighty and you're, you know, can do anything, you know, I'm going to trust you. And I remember saying to myself how scared I was, because I've asked this before, but I really meant it. And I walked out that door and I promised myself, I knew that this was going to be hard and it was going to be painful. But I was willing now, anything had to be better than what I was going through. And I walked out that door and it was 7/11/2017. I've been sober since. And I remember going to my attorney and we were sitting at Panera and he looked at me and he's like, "Erika," he's like, "I can't help you if you're not going to get honest." And I'm thinking to myself, what is honesty? Like, you know, somebody would say that it's nighttime outside, you know, when it was nighttime, and I'd be like, "No, it's not, it's light outside." Like, you know, like there was not an honest bone in my body, not because I wanted to hurt anybody, but because I was always protecting myself from feeling anything, because all I wanted to do was just feel what I wanted to feel, you know, and so I remember just looking at him and just saying, okay, you know, I'm going to do this. And so we went to all the courthouses because I was on probation in 4 different counties. And I remember standing before each judge and I just told the truth. I told everything. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it was amazing because the second that I got honest with everybody came and started helping me. It was unbelievable. I mean, you know, if you don't speed, you're not going to get a ticket, you know, and now that I told everything, I didn't have anything to hide anymore. So there was this unbelievable freedom that I had. And that's where I got this hope, because I'm like, if I don't have to hide anymore, I could just tell the truth. I could tell how hard this is and what I'm really going through, and all the places that I stole from, and the people that I hurt, and the cars that I robbed, and the you know, I mean, I was a full blown, you know, I mean, all the men and the women and the children and everything that I was doing to myself and to my family and my kids and everybody, whoever I touched, you know, and it was over. You know, I told the truth and I got to say, I'm sick. Like, I don't know how to help myself. Help me. And people helped me. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
asking for help, man.
it was, you know, and there was these little moments. So across the street from where I live, there is, there's a parking spot. There's Brooks Brothers. And it talks about, there's a parking spot that says Brooks Brothers parking only. And so I saw that sign, you know, and rules never applied to me ever. You know, that's where I would park. If there was a long line, I would always just pass everybody and go in front of it because, again, rules didn't apply to me and I was the center of the universe. And I remember looking at that sign. I think that I was about like maybe almost a year sober. I had just gotten my license back, and I saw that sign and said Brooks Brothers parking only. And I was like, damn, I'm not going to Brooks Brothers. And I remember looking at it and not parking there for the first time and finding another parking spot, you know. And that was the first time that I was honest with myself alone, where nobody was looking. And that little act of honesty is what started to build my self-esteem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it gave me self-worth, you know, and I would listen to songs like, you know, like Whitney Houston, Greatest Love of All?
Yeah.
Like you really need to listen to the words of that, because it, you know, I always heard kind of like what we said in the beginning of this about cliches. I always heard that how can I love anybody, or how can anybody love me if I don't love myself? What a concept. Like, why would you want to hang out with me if I don't want to hang out with me?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, totally.
No. So I want to be respectful of your time, because we're cutting here, and I want to make sure that I want to hear some more of this, but then also just remember, I want to hear like what you're doing now, because what you're doing now is what matters now, right? Like but I want to hear the rest of the Whitney story real quick, and then I want to hear about what you're doing now, because it's so important. Like this is amazing what you're onto. So
it's just, this song is just about learning how to love yourself, and that, you know, learning to love myself is the greatest love of all. You know what I mean? If I don't love me, there's nothing.
Yep.
You know? And so anyway, I made this vision board about 2.5 years ago now. And I thought, how awesome would it be to get Central Court at a Grand Slam? Let the world know that, you know, you could be at that time 40 in recovery from drugs and alcohol and have a do-over in life. And the next day after I made that vision board, I kid you not, I ran into my old tennis coach who I grew up with at a Starbucks that he never goes to, 15 years. He never goes to Starbucks. I hadn't seen him the day after I made that vision board. Awesome. And so it's awesome. And so I'm like, this is it. I'm going to start playing tennis again. And so he takes me to a film festival, and, you know, Nick Bollettieri, it was his film, Love Means Zero. Those of you who don't know who Nick Bollettieri is, he's one of the #1 coaches in the world. He has 10 top #1 Grand Slam winners, like Serena Williams, Andre Agassi, Maria Sharapova. And I saw the documentary and I was like, I want to meet him. Like, I want him to know my story. And so I strategically placed myself at IMG in Florida. And I went to like this adult clinic, and this guy named Roger, puts me in this room. I tell him my story and he's like, wow, this is awesome. And he puts me in this room and he calls Nick Bollettieri, and I'm like, oh my God, because that's like starstruck. So I get on the tennis court with Nick Bollettieri. I'll just tell this part quickly and then I'll skip to right now. And Nick is like, come on, bring her out to the court, and he's like, action. And so I play, and he's like, well, kid, let's see if you're coachable and teachable. And he never made fun of my dream. And I talk about this a lot. He never said it was too big. He always said, I'm going to give you the opportunity and you're the one who's going to need to do it. But here, I'm going to pave the way for you. It's up to you. So the only one who can fail is you if you hold yourself back, because I'm giving you the road to it. And long story short, I made it on the tour. I'm at the very bottom of the totem pole, the very bottom. But it's funny because if you look up my name now, and Google, it used to have all of my mugshots, and now it says I'm a professional tennis player. And I don't say that like, oh my God, like this is so awesome. Like I'm saying like, holy shit, you don't see my mugshots anymore, and that's possible for it to happen with a person like me. And today I have full custody back of my children. I'm remarried. We just bought our house, which is crazy because I was a homeless person, and I have a home today. And I have a team, and I have, I think the most amazing part of this story, and it doesn't there's not enough time about this, but I'm healthy. The only way that any of this is possible is I'm healthy, and it's hard. It's hard getting healthy. Like, this shit is hard, you know, and being accountable for my actions, and knowing when to say, you know, I didn't mean to say that. I really actually have not a clue what I'm saying. If you could just give me a minute, let me try this again, or I'm just going to be quiet, you know. And there's so many facets to this story, what it took to get custody back of my children. It's not just like, oh, I got my kids back, like this was easy. Like, the first year of my sobriety, I wasn't allowed to talk to my kids or see my kids, because I was that drug addict and alcoholic where I faked every drug test, and I manipulated the system, that they had to actually change the court system here in Ohio because of me. It was that bad, you know. And doing the weekly drug tests and getting naked and having them look inside of me, you know, because of hiding every single urine or whatever it was, and the hair testing and the nail testing and the toenail testing. And I remember at 6 months sober, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to get my kids back. And my therapist is like, no, you're not. And I'm like, what? And then a year sober, he's like, all right, you're ready to get your kids back. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Because now I was doing the work.
Right.
And so today, now, we have a dynamic that works because I'm honest with my kids. The only way that they were able to heal was by me telling them the truth, but now they have understanding and empathy for this disease. And then if something comes up in this house, or when I'm driving and I'm feeling a feeling, or I'm feeling like I smell crack, you know what I mean? Just because I do, I could say, oh my God, like the car smells like crack. And they're like, mommy, but I get to be honest and let it out.
Yeah.
My team on the tennis court, I mean, the mental work that they're doing for me, it's a dream come true. I mean, it's teaching me how to get to a level of thinking where I always knew I was capable of doing it, but I didn't have the guidance or the tools, and I wasn't ready yet. Because in order for me to get to this level that I'm going to get to, I have to be able to, I get to be honest with myself and everybody around me, and
yeah, I love it. So where's your goal? Where's your grand goal? To get into a Grand Slam?
Yeah, absolutely. Not just to get into it.
No, but I mean, get into the finals.
Absolutely. Get centric there, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm with you, and I just need to know what you need help with. So, because I want to see it happen too. So, no, thank you for being here. You're inspiring, and just understand that this isn't just about you now. It's about the people that you're inspiring now, because there's going to be tons of people that are going to look up to you and look at your story and be like, well, she can do it. I can do it. Like you said. And I just want to commend you for that, making that decision. I mean, look, we've all done some stuff in the past. We just got, like you said, we got to forgive ourselves, tell the truth, and move on, because that's like, life's too short as it is anyway. So, but thank you for sharing what you're made of. Erika, I appreciate you being here and your time you spent here. And I look forward to, like I said, anything I can do to support you. Just reach out to your boy C-Roc. Go ahead.
I really wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you to everybody that listens to your show. And that if anybody ever wants to reach out to me, I do answer my direct messages. So I think that the only way that this can work is by us supporting each other and sharing the truth with each other. So, again, I think that you're wonderful, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next step in our relationship also. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you very much, Erika. I appreciate that. It means the world. And thank you for reaching out to me in the first place. So you guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. And as you can see, Erika is unstoppable as well. Thanks for listening. Keep supporting. Go subscribe to the podcast and go check out the Blueprinted app, BLOOprinted.com/VIP. Go check that out right now, because it's a new product platform that we just put out to help people achieve success in any vertical. So we're looking forward to helping you out with that. Until next time, be unstoppable.